Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Well, we had quite a disturbance in the force yesterday. What might have been was really interesting. Robert Michael Burnett, or whatever his name is. God, I always get people's names wrong. Um, caught one of his videos and I'm like, oh, what? It's a script leak? What? Had a quick look and I was really shocked. I listened to the whole thing and he basically had a copy of the Star Wars 9 script, Episode 9, Duel of the Fates, which was completed on the 16th of December 2016, which is only 11 days before Carrie Fisher died. And then it was September of the next year when he left the project. Now, it's kind of interesting because there's been a lot of speculation about the lack of planning of the sequel trilogy, and it appears, considering they had a completed script which took into account a lot of the things in Rian Johnson's Last Jedi, it actually seems like they did have more of a plan that is sort of acknowledged. But we know that JJ did lay out some direction, and that Rian Johnson kind of abandoned some of that. But then after that, it does look like they were trying to sort it out, and it wasn't left quite so last minute. But it does look like all that was abandoned, and it seems to be because of Carrie Fisher's death, not because of Luke being written out of the script by being killed, basically. So it looks as though the people who were working on the film before Carrie Fisher died couldn't work out how to make it work after she died. They left, and then JJ was brought in and tried to fix it all, and didn't do such a good job because the script that from all I'm hearing, because Robert Michael Burnett went through pretty much all the main elements of the story. And other people have done their own videos. Now, at first, I thought they were just repeating his video basically and his information and not acknowledging him. But it does appear that these other people have gotten hold of the script somehow, because they are talking about other elements that he doesn't cover in his two videos. He did a second video the next day going into more detail about the ending. And it does appear as though there is a script out there that people have access to. Now, when I first saw the video, I was just listening to it riveted, and then towards the end, he was very vague about what his source was and how he got it and what he saw, but towards the end he sort of commented that maybe he made it all up, maybe it's a joke, maybe it doesn't exist. And I sort of thought, oh, is he just trolling us? Is he just putting out one of his ideas and he just wants to see what people think of it? And I sort of didn't take it seriously. I thought, I'm not going to do a video, I'm not really going to invest too much in it, because it might just be someone's fan fiction that has been put out there as real. But it does seem to be taken seriously and does seem to be validated on some level. So it looks as though there is a script out there, and it was it's quite feasible that it was the one that was written. And some people are guessing that the writer, who actually wrote it, it was Derek Connolly and Colin Trevorrow. Now, I knew Colin Trevorrow, his name, I knew that he was involved in the film and left, but I didn't realise he wrote it with someone else, but they normally do. So he did get some story credits, and a lot of elements were taken, but just a lot of people are like, oh, I can't believe they abandoned this and took, got JJ to write his version of that. And I don't really think it went that way. I really think that I kind of agree with what Robert Michael Burnett and a few other people have said, that obviously, considering this script was completed just before Carrie Fisher died and Leia is really prominent in the story, they just had to go another way. Now, I'm sure they could have made this script work. I don't know why they didn't, rather than make such a different film than they did. And I do think this one was better. Now, I'm not going to go through all the details because there are plenty of videos going through all the specifics of the story, but basically Rose and Finn are on a mission to Coruscant, to ignite an ancient beacon to call people to war for the rebellion. Rose is caught and interrogated by Hux. Finn leads an uprising of stormtroopers who are defectors. There's a ground battle on Courtesan in the street, and Courtesan has been taken over and built over by the First Order, and it's not like it was in the prequels. And there was some sort of book ending by going back there, and also was put into the original trilogy by George Lucas. So there was something about returning to Coruscant that worked. There are a lot of things that worked about it. Having a mission that everyone was on, Rose, Poe, Finn, a painted BB-8 to look like a First Order droid. They had a lot of elements that worked in the old movies, in the original trilogy, that seemed to work in this script. They had a lot of really funny, from what I've heard, interaction between R2-D2 and 3CPO, who kind of were underused in the sequels. So a lot of things that really worked. That it's a pity. You can see. I think this film, the script, probably, I don't know if it would have been better. A lot of people are saying, "Oh God, this would have been great. This would have been amazing. What was produced was crap. Why did they go with this? Oh, it must have been some deliberate attempt, to destroy Star Wars and destroy the patriarchy and Luke Skywalker and all that." And that may have been part of the writing of the Rise of Skywalker, and a lot of the interruptions and a lot of overseeing of the studios and everything, and Kathleen Kennedy and all that might have been due to political agendas and so forth, and personal agendas and all that stuff. But it seems as though this film, as it was written, because it is just a draft, obviously it was never made, fell apart. The whole production fell apart after Carrie Fisher died, and it does seem they could have fixed it. They had a year. They could have changed the story and then had Luke take over basically her role. There was so many things they could have done that they didn't, and it's going to be really fascinating to find out later why they didn't do some of the things that they could have, and why it went the way it went. But it ended quite differently. Basically, Finn and Rose take a bunch of Force-sensitive kids to a planet to be taught by Rey, and it seems that that's just how it ends. That it's all about sort of the boy that they left in the stables. Just sort of that there's a whole bunch of Jedis that are coming up. That because I had heard that Leia was going to be the one teaching her and teaching the children. So it's kind of interesting, the different versions. You don't know how much of it is speculation, how much of it is fan fiction, how much of it is actually different versions that they tried and different drafts. And I hope at one point they actually go through and just detail it all, and someone just writes the book on it, so we have all the answers. But at the moment it's just very fascinating, and I'm surprised that Robert Michael Burnett, or his name is, didn't realise it would be the sort of big deal that it was. So many people weren't happy with the film, and are just fixated now on what could have been and the speculation on why it wasn't. So it's all very interesting, and there are so many things. Like, the Emperor was not in the film. He was just a hologram that was made for Darth Vader, that Kylo Ren was viewing, and then when it realised he wasn't Vader, it basically burnt him, and he didn't really get severely injured him, and he basically was on the run from the First Order while Rey was as well, and he didn't really get his redemption story on this level. He was just full-on psycho through the film, pretty much until the end. And there are elements that are similar, and you can see how, on some level, it evolved into the Rise of Skywalker. But the Knights of Ren were featured more prominently and treated better. There's a whole bunch of things. The main mission at the start, they basically steal a Star Destroyer, and then use that and all the equipment on it. And some people saying that's ridiculous. How could they steal it? That takes so many people to man it and all sort of. So there are some elements of it that are a little ridiculous, but kind of cool. Like just the idea of them breaking into a shipyard, into the shipyards, and stealing a Star Destroyer, and then using that against the Empire and stuff like that. It seems very Star Wars, and a lot of the interactions, they kept a lot of the characters together in couples all the time, and the group work, it just had more of a Star Wars feel to it, I think. And there were no MacGuffins. There were no, because that Goonies moment where she holds the knife up, and that's just, was he wanted to have a Spielberg Goonies moment for himself, or it just, that's one part I couldn't accept, and I'm hearing a lot of people are saying when seeing the film again that that was the part that just is cringeworthy, and there were no MacGuffins in this film. It really worked a lot stronger. But like I said, I'm not going to go into all the detail about it. It's too long, too complicated. Maybe I'll do it later, but I really just wanted to make a little video about what I thought about the whole thing, and just how curious it is that people are responding very different. Some people are just sort of going, oh, interesting, could be fake, could be fan fiction, could be real. And other people are treating it like it's the Bible. It's just like the Holy Grail has just been discovered. It's really interesting. Other people are trashing it. Um, it's very interesting. It's very interesting to see how different fans react different ways. I think ultimately it's a little sad that they didn't really have a choice where they went, because Leia died, and that changed the nature of. Sorry, Carrie Fisher died. It changed the nature of the story, what they could do, what they couldn't do, and then the creative people changed around, and they ended up with who they ended up, and they had a certain amount of time to do certain tasks. And I think ultimately what people are saying about JJ is true. He really just writes backwards. He has big ideas and visions and images he sees. He thinks that'll be cool, I want to do that, and then he works out how to write that into the story, so he writes backwards. I think when he's creating all these films, he's more a visual spectacle director. He's not really a storyteller. So the MacGuffins and the mystery boxes just don't work in Star Wars, and they are going to not so much age badly, but they are never going to sit well with people. And this story didn't use anything like that. It was much stronger, from what I can tell, from what I've heard, a much stronger basic Star Wars story, more based on character than gimmicks and MacGuffin and fan service. The fan service was there, but it was done differently. But yeah, I'm just going on. I'm just going to stop because I can't go into it too much of actually really going into it. And I have listened to hours of analysis from other people about it, and I've got a lot of notes and things. And I'm tempted to just try and do some sort of summary of the whole movie, but other people have done a better job of it. So I really just wanted to talk about what I thought of it and what I thought of other people's reactions, and it was very varied and interesting. But I'm going to go now. Feel free to share, like, comment. Let me know what you think of the film. Well, the script. Some people still suggest that it's fake and it doesn't even exist, because no one has actually shown a copy, just the first page. So this may just be a fake. It may be maybe a prank. It may actually be real, but we won't know for a while. So I'm sort of looking forward to this unraveling at some point. So I'm just going to keep watching and paying attention. Thanks. Bye.